Hey, sweetheart. How's it going? I'm going to start right off the bat that I'm changing the way I'm doing this. It's not a podcast anymore. This is a video journal for you, my daughter, my sweetheart. And every time I started switching this up, I always said when I was talking directly to you, I started as, hey, sweetheart. So this YouTube channel now is called Hey, Sweetheart. Da-da-da-da. I like it. Don't you like it? I like it. Yeah, I thought that it's more appropriate, and I'm planning on starting another channel that I'm going to use the Ride or Die podcast here in the probably not the near future, but it's going to happen again because I enjoy doing it. I like making content, and it's fun to me. It's fun to talk, and I really enjoy doing this. So thank you because you inspired me to do this. So I love you for that. I love you for a lot of reasons. For that, I definitely love you. But I was going to talk about letting go of things, not holding on and all this stuff. But I was in church today, and every once in a while, my friend Jacob will come and he'll sit by me, hi. I used to live with the guy, and I used to live with him when I dated your mother, and just a good dude, just an all around good dude. And he's like, I heard you on the radio. What? I'm thinking podcast, and he goes, no, I heard you on the radio, 97 point whatever. I'm like, no, not wasn't me. And he goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I wasn't on the radio. And he goes, God, he sounded just like you. And when they introduced him as Matt, he's like, no, it's Matthew. And I'm like, he's like, that's a Matthew thing to say. I'm like, yeah, that does sound like me. I'm like, it wasn't me. I'm like, well, what did you talk about? He goes, relationships. I'm like, did he have any good advice? He goes, not really. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, my best advice about relationships is don't get in one. I'm kidding. Date a lot. Date a lot until you find that person that you absolutely adore. So I thought about doing a relationship podcast a couple times now because I feel like I don't have advice on how to make a relationship work since I've never had a relationship work ever. And I've only been in 3 serious relationships since high school. So, but I can throw my stuff out there. Why not? Let's see what happens. Where to start? Well, how to start a relationship. So how do you start a relationship? You meet somebody, you find them attractive, you find them funny, and you go on a date. And when you want to date, as a person, it is your job not to make that person like you. You need to see if you like that person. I think that's more important than, yeah, you want to be cute and fun and enjoy yourself. And, you want to impress people, of course. But you really got to see if you like them. I think that's super important. Like I've been on dates where I'm like, wow, this girl's beautiful. I really hope she likes me. That's not the right way to think. That's not the right way to think at all. I should, going on a date, it's like, okay, let's see what this gal's about. Let's see what she's all about. Let's see if I really like her, and just be yourself. And most people aren't their selves these days. It is what it is. I've been on so many dates and been catfished. Like I hate Snapchat. I shouldn't say hate. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say hate. But Snapchat puts a filter on and like, ooh, look at me, no makeup. You got a Snapchat filter on. It's makeup. It's a lie. And I got conned a couple times. I got conned pretty hard a couple times, which is all right. Even though that happened, I still go on the date. I still enjoy meeting people. So yeah. But yeah, after that, you got to really make sure your core values line up. Not like your core values, like what really makes you is most important. And for me, my core values are family, and family is not just blood. Family is your best friends. Family is, the person, that you're dating. If, you get to that point where they become family, my daughter, you're my family, and, my brothers and sisters, mom, dad, uncles, aunts, all that nonsense. So family is one of the most important things. Health. I believe in taking care of yourself, eating, mental strength, all that. Just really just learning about yourself at all times. Because throughout your life, you're constantly going to change. Like I'm 36 years old and I'm still changing. I feel myself changing, the way I think, the way I act, the way I talk, everything like that. So health. Challenging. I think challenging yourself is a really good mental health thing for me. Not mental health, a really core value for me. Challenging yourself, creates struggle. And I think struggle is good. That's why I do jujitsu. That's why I do, now video journals for you. Because this is not easy. It's not easy just to talk for 15 minutes. And is it going to work out? But the more I do it, the better I get at just talking, plus I'm good at talking. I've always been good at talking. So yeah, just when you start dating, make sure your core values line up. I just think that's really important. So now it comes to you're dating somebody. You're dating and dating and dating. You're getting along with them. Everything's cool. And then you say, I love you. Ooh, I love you. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. Once you say, I love you, that person becomes the most important person in your life. When you say, I love you, that person is your best friend. And I never thought this before, but I do believe it now. When you say, I love you, that person is your go-to. And if that person says, I love you back, that's the same for that person. I love you. I think the word love is completely mishandled these days. People just say it because they feel like they need that word. But once you say it, that's a commitment. No one else in the world matters but you two once you say, I love you. That's my belief. And so let's talk about love a little bit. What makes love? Now, I was showing you this the other day. Hopefully you remember it, and I'm gonna continue teaching it throughout your life. But you get this. You got your hand. This is how I look at it. You got this hand, and when you put your hand together, you got a triangle. I don't know if you can see this. You got a triangle. But when you drop your two fingers, you got a heart inside. Now, this is really cool to me because when you have that triangle, on top is communication. On the right is trust. And on the left is honesty. And with communication, trust, and honesty, that's what makes love. That's what will continue. As long as those three things are continuous, nonstop, I truly believe your love will last forever. Now, what is love? Love is loyalty. If you're not loyal to that person, it's not going to work. And the only way to have loyalty is to have communication, trust, and honesty. It's as simple as that. Now, love is one of the hardest things in the world. The only people you really hurt are the people you love. So that's why being consistent on communication, trust, and honesty, I think you can make it work. And it's both of you. It's not just one. One can't put more effort in than the other. It's 100% you two. Okay, so once you got that done, you got love. Love is loyalty. So you communicate about everything, you're honest about everything, and you trust each other. You're golden. I think that's all you really need. You got your core values, and you got your love. And love is communication, trust, and honesty. And that equals loyalty. Now, since I've never had that pan out for me, because I'm single, I've been single for a while now, and I'm happy I am. I enjoy being single. Dating sucks because I just think people are fake these days. I just can't find a gal in this town that actually just excites me anymore. But let me tell you how relationships fail. I think relationships fail because people don't keep them private. I think keeping your relationship private is so important because when you have problems, because in all relationships you have problems. But if you go to work and said, oh, so-and-so did this, and you tell a group of people, and now you gain a group of people giving you advice on what to do about it. And let's be honest, not everybody gives good advice. I would say let's say you have 20 friends. I bet maybe 2 of them will give you good advice. But most people will take the advice that makes them feel better. People just don't like honest advice, I think. I think they just go with then just let's say out of that 20 people, 15 of them say this, and then 3 of them say this, and 2 of them say this. Well, what gets in your head that you're going to go with the majority? No, well, all these people think this. I should do this. I should do this. I was in a relationship where the gal I was seeing, she went to Reddit and asked questions on Reddit, and she told me about this, and she got a boatload of answers to people that know nothing about the relationship we had. So they're just taking a biased reflection on how they look at it. That's why it's so important to keep your problems private. Have your friends that you can, communicate with. Don't tell a bunch of people your problems. I think that's just destruction to our relationship. When you just air out your dirty laundry to everybody, then, people love giving their advice to everything. This is why when people ask me for advice, I say, talk to the person you're with. I don't know the things that's going on. Like, I'll listen to people's problems, but giving advice, I steer away from it because I don't want to be I don't want to give bad advice, if that makes sense. So that's why, when you have problems with somebody, either go to the person you have a problem with, your significant other, and communicate and talk and write things down. And, even if you guys are heated, take some time away from each other and then come back, make a rule like, okay, we got this problem. I'm going to go here for 20 minutes and you go here for 20 minutes and write stuff down. Find a way to work out. And I tried doing that, and it was mostly me, I think, that had a problem with that because your dad's stubborn and I'm trying to lose his stubbornness, and it's taking me a little bit of time, but I think I got it down. I don't like pride. I think pride is, it's not good. Having so much pride is not good. And having attitude is not good either. So yeah, keep your relationship private. All people need to know is you and the person you're seeing are together. No one needs to know anything else about that. That's hands down. That's all. Okay. I think a lot of people have another thing that makes relationships fail is FOMO. FOMO is a slang word for fear of missing out. And that's another reason why I don't follow a bunch of people on social media, because, everybody's doing all this stuff and it's like everything's a competition. Oh, this relationship's doing that. Oh, this relationship's doing that. And me personally, I don't care what anybody's doing. I got my life. I enjoy my life. I do my little things that makes my everyday good. But people, they feel like they're missing out. When you get older and you got a real life and you got a job and you have problems at your job, and then you have to pay your mortgage, and then you got to pay the car bill, and then you got to get groceries and all this. And, you have a teammate to help you out with, and you just really got to just be worried about your life. And you got to take the time for yourself. In a relationship, you definitely have to take time for yourself, and you have to take time for your significant other. And then if you have children, you got to take time for your children. It's not easy. It's not easy being in a family relationship. It's not. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody's pictures on Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff are showing you. It is not easy because there's always problems, especially when you have kids. Because kids get sick. They need to be here. They need to do this. They need to go to soccer practice, basketball, piano, get to school. Oh, you're not getting good grades. Well, blah this, blah this. It is not easy. It's not. So that's why in the scheme of things, when you're in a relationship, number one, you got to take care of yourself. Because if you are not happy, your partner's not going to be happy. And if your partner's not happy, your family's not going to be happy. It's a domino effect. It's once one person falls, they all fall. It has to be a strong foundation. That's why it's so important to make sure you have hobbies and stuff for yourself. And then you got to make sure your partner has hobbies and stuff for themselves. And then you got to make sure you take time for you guys to be romantic and go on dates and do stuff, plan trips every 3 to 6 months. You gotta do stuff. But that also comes with communication. I think communication is probably hands down the number one thing that ends relationships. Easily. Like, okay, my last relationship was like a year and a half ago. And so it's the most valid relationship I could talk about. Uh, when it kind of all started going downhill, and I'm not like pointing blames or anything like this. I don't know if she listens or not. It doesn't matter. But she wanted to go on this trip. She's like, well, I want to go travel and I want to go to, drive the country or something like that. I'm like, that's cool. Like maybe you should do that. That'd be really cool. And it's like, that was the conversation. All she said is she wanted to travel. But then I was at work, and before even I got home, she's like, hey, I'm leaving for so-and-so here in a couple of days. I'm like, what? What? Oh, like, we didn't even talk about it. She's like, yeah, we did. I'm like, no, all you said was you wanted to travel. And I said that would be a really good idea. And then all of a sudden she wants to just blast off. And then I ended up, chasing her around the country, going to visit her because I missed her and I wanted to see her. Communication is everything. Just communication is everything. At the end of the day, you can't have trust without communication. If you can't be honest with anybody if you don't communicate. Communication is hands down the most important thing in a relationship. Talk, be honest, tell your feelings, don't get upset. If you do get upset, take time away from each other. And that's relationships. I think, I'm just going to leave it at that. This is kind of a long podcast, journal entry, but yeah, so whenever you get in a relationship, just take your time. Don't rush it. When you start saying I love you, that person becomes the most important person in your life. And, that's another thing. It's not a competition. It's not a competition. So let's say you're living together and so-and-so does this, and then you do this. And then after a while, it's always an argument. Well, I did this. Well, I did this. It's not 50-50. And there's a book about it, and I think it's called the 80-80 marriage. In a relationship, you always pick up the other person's slack. And if they're always picking up your slack and you're always picking up their slack, and you're going to be fine. Especially with the house and, yard and taking the kids to school and traveling and grocery shopping. It's not a competition. Whoever does it first, if it is a competition, it's a competition who loves them more. Like, I love you more, I'll go do this. No, I love you more, I'll go do this. It's not, well, I did this. It's I'll go do this, sweetheart. I got this. And if someone's having a bad day, that's when you pick up the slack and say, hey, babe, relax, I got this. So it's not a competition. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think I did pretty well being a first take and all that. So, sweetheart, when you get in a relationship, just take your time. When you say I love you, that person's the only person in your life that matters. The outside world doesn't. Because when you bring that outside world into your relationship, then the relationship ain't going to work out. I guarantee it. Okay, sweetheart, I love you. You're my sweetheart. You're my sunshine. Everybody else that listens to this, I appreciate you. If anybody has any comments on this, if I said something wrong or something like that, I'd like to know, because one day I'd like to be in a good relationship too. But sweetheart, I love you. Everybody else, peace.